This is the strength of 2.5 horses right here. This is the Mercury 2.5 horsepower outboard engine. And it's mine. Hi, I'm Wayne the Boat Guy. I'm going to show you this new motor that I got right here. Well, new to me. I have two very small aluminum 12-foot boats that need propulsion. My Mercury 7.5 horsepower is way too big and heavy for that. It's a long shaft, and for those of you who say, oh, just build out your transom and put that on there, I weighed it. That engine weighs 75 pounds. So even if I built up my transom and reinforced it, I'm still putting a 75-pound motor on the back of those old aluminum boats, and that's not very wise to be doing. So instead, a short shaft, lighter weight motor, like this beauty right here, this is what I need. This is a 2004 Mercury 2.5 horsepower outboard engine. It weighs 30 pounds. This is a two-stroke engine, and it's actually the newest thing that I own. My boat is older than this. All my other motors that I've ever owned are older than this. This is the newest thing I've ever owned. When this thing showed up for sale just down the road from me, I couldn't resist. And it's a very cool little motor. And I'm going to show you just how easy this thing is to start. And later in this video, I'll talk about some of the things that I actually don't like about this engine. There's some shortcomings to this particular little motor. It's not all roses. I haven't run it in several days. I got it in my trash can full of water right here, so that way we don't run an impeller dryer. So that way we don't run it with a dry impeller. And we're going to live right now start this thing up. So let me show you the starting procedure, which is written right here on this sticker in the front. So the first thing I'm supposed to do is refer to the owner's manual for details. So we're not going to do that. Okay. So we vent this. This is the vent to let air into the fuel tank. The fuel tank is built in. Then we switch on our fuel lever to let fuel flow. And we put this in the start position. There's a little notch right here just above turtle. We move our emergency cutoff, our engine cutoff switch lanyard out of the way here real quick. We put our choke on and we give it a pull. Hello? Let's see. That's open, that's on, right? Let's give it a pull. There we go. Look at that, it's a runner. Choke all the way off, give it a little bit of juice. Now idle it back down again. Hasn't smoothed out just yet, but give it a minute. We got water coming out of the telltale. It's just a happy little motor. So do you have a little outboard like this? If so, let me know all about it in the comments below. So a couple other interesting things about this particular little motor is that, if you don't know, these Mercury motors are made by Tohatsu. And Tohatsu actually also makes them for Nissan. So apparently any of these small little outboards that you buy from like the 90s up through, I guess, maybe today, they might be labeled Nissan or Mercury, but a lot of them are manufactured by Tohatsu. And it also means that parts availability is probably better as well. Now on the downside, one of the things that is challenging is, of course, this is a two-stroke motor. So you do have to mix your gas and your oil. And I made a video about how to do that with the correct mixing cup. So I actually keep a jug of my pre-mixed fuel ready to go to put in here whenever I need to top this off. So you always have to remember that with a two-stroke engine. And although this motor is very easy to start, one of the challenges is, because of the fact that you have to do several things to start this up, you also have to remember to undo those things whenever you're shutting the engine off. So for example, when I'm done running for the day, typically what I should do is run the engine dry of fuel. So I should shut my fuel supply off, let it run out of fuel, and then close the vent up here. Otherwise, gas could spill out of it whenever I'm transporting. And that's one of the things that's tricky to remember, because a few times whenever I've used this, I'm all finished and I forget to shut the fuel off, or I forget to close the vent, and I think about it hours later and I come back out into my garage and sure enough, my vent is still open. So that's tricky. And you know, it's not the end of the world, but like for example, when you drive a car or a boat with an inboard outboard engine, whenever you're done, you know, you just shut the key off and pop the key out and that's it. You don't have to remember to close vents and shut fuel valves off and those types of things. So that to me is a little bit of a downside, but it's a normal downside whenever you're running a small two-stroke outboard like this. And that downside has nothing to do with this particular motor. It has to do with these types of motors. The other challenge is reverse. Because with reverse, since what you're doing is you're essentially just flipping the motor around and flipping the tiller over like this to go backwards. The problem with reverse is as you're reversing, you can't adjust your speed at all because you're reaching around here blindly to try to adjust your speed. And that's one of the things that I don't like about that. Also, you have to be careful that you don't become unplugged if your cable isn't very long. Unfortunately, my safety cord, I think it's on here backwards or something because the hook is not supposed to be on this end and the loop is not supposed to be on this end. I'm going to get a new safety cord here real soon. Vent open, fuel on. Now we've just been running, so we might not need to put the choke on. Let's see. There we go. If I want to go in reverse, all I got to do is flip the motor around. And then I guess I can reach around here and control the speed. And as far as speed goes, I've recorded speeds up to 8 miles an hour with this engine here in this particular 12-foot V-bottom hull boat. Personally, the only thing I think it's better than one of these for a really small outboard are the electric propulsion types from Torqeedo and E-Propulsion, because basically you just set that on here and you switch it on and go. And when you're done, you just switch it off. And that's all you got to do. There's no engine sound. There's no choke. There's no opening the vent. There's no fueling it up, none of those kinds of things. That's one of the things I'd love to have in the future because I'd love to be able to just be silently motoring around here with my small electric outboard. But that's not meant to be right now because this is a heck of a lot cheaper than one of those. Thank you so much for watching. Here's another video pick just for you, and a playlist of videos similar to this one. You stay safe out there in the water. I guess it's time for me to head on back. I need to figure out how to tie this off better.